Oh, hello there. Now that you're here, I guess I'll entertain with you with some logical fallacies and explanations, as well as delve into the pi test for universal truth. I'll start off with the pi test. Pi stands for public, independent, and eternal. You want to decipher whether a truth is universal or personal. Well, first, see, is it public? Is it public knowledge? Do a lot of people know about it? Is it independent? It's not dependent on something else like you or another person. And is it eternal? Is it timeless? Or is it attached to you in some way? And if it is public, independent, and eternal, then it is a universal truth and it's not just a personal truth. Now I'm going to talk about some logical fallacies. First logical fallacy I'll talk about is called ad hominem. For example, a person makes a claim, and then another person makes a personal attack on the first person, and therefore the first person's claim is false. That's not logical reasoning, because even if the first person has facts and justification to support his argument, then it can still be true, but the audience is likely to think it's not because of the personal attack. This is similar to poisoning the well. The second fallacy I'm going to talk about is post hoc. Event A occurs before event B. Therefore, event A caused event B. This is a logical fallacy because if somebody sneezes on one side of the globe at the exact same time that there's an earthquake on the other side, that doesn't mean you can arrest that person for starting a natural disaster. This is preposterous. The slippery slope is another logical fallacy. I apologize for my voice, I have a cold. Event X has occurred. Therefore, event Y will inevitably happen. This is the slippery slope effect. An example of this is if you're trying to convince someone of, like a teacher, you can't let one person slip on this rule. You have to punish them, or else the students will throw a coup d'etat and overtake your classroom. This is a logical fallacy because maybe if you let one person go, they'll appreciate it and respect you as a teacher. Not talking about any specific teacher, by the way. The last logical fallacy I'm going to talk about is the red herring. Topic A is under discussion, and then all of a sudden somebody brings topic B in, pretending it's related to topic A, and tries to use topic B to win the argument about topic A, which is a fallacy because they're not related, so you can't make them, like you can't try to win the argument. And this is basically, I don't really have an example, but it's basically you're trying to win the argument by just changing the subject and hoping people don't notice. But they do because they go to the IA and they know what a logical fallacy is. So that's all I have to say for now.
In ToK, there are various areas of knowledge. For example, there's mathematics, natural sciences, human sciences, history, the arts, and ethics. And these subject areas are divided up into categories, and so that a knower can gain knowledge using different ways of knowing in these certain areas. Mathematics, people gain knowledge using numbers and equations and stuff. Natural sciences is like the study of the universe and the science of like our existence. Human science includes humanities and social sciences. History is like what happened in the past with human civilizations. The arts is, encompasses visual arts, literature, performing arts, etc. And ethics is the most controversial. It's like moral philosophy, and it's deciding whether something is like good or bad. And these areas of knowledge are used by a knower to be able to take a real life situation or a knowledge issue and be able to apply it to different areas of knowledge to further gain insight on the knowledge issue.
Any sentient being can be known as a knower, and groups of knowers are put together due to common beliefs or thoughts they have. Groups of knowers may include your school or your particular classroom, or maybe a group that shares the same beliefs as you, such as a political party or a religion. Groups of knowers can be of any size, and by grouping them together, we can understand their beliefs as a whole more effectively.
There are also many different ways of knowing. We all may know things, but it is also very important to understand how we know these things. From first things that come to my mind, I can say that everybody has learned through memory, recalling something that has happened in one's life, language or verbal communication, sensory perception, using the five senses, hear, touch, see, smell, taste, learning through those, logic, using some sort of reasoning that makes a little bit of sense, and also emotion comes to mind. Just using how one feels on the inside, using one's heart to determine what they know. There's just so many different ways of knowing.
There are two types of truth. There's personal truth and then there's universal truth. And personal truth is something that is true to an individual knower. And then universal truth is something that is true to either a collection or group of knowers. And people justify truth, or they're able to prove something is true to either them or a group using the three truth tests. The first one is the correspondence theory, the second one is the coherence theory, and the third one is the pragmatic theory. And with the correspondence theory, this one is usually used with other truth tests. It's rarely ever just used by itself. The coherence theory is making sure that something is consistent. So if this knowledge is consistent with something else that we already know, it's able to be justified as true. And the pragmatic theory is something that is able to be applied to like a real life situation. It's valued on its application. So those are the three truth tests.
One thing that we learned about last year in ToK was about justified true beliefs. Something justified can be something that has evidence and can be supported using the principles of logic in mind. Something true is something that can be justified and can be agreed upon. A belief is something that one is certain about and that does not necessarily need solid proof. You put these all together and you get a justified true belief.
Obviously, we went over a lot in this video in regards to what we learned last year in the theory of knowledge. So to quickly review, we talked about the pi test for determining the difference between universal and personal truth, and we also explained some of the very many logical fallacies that you should try to avoid while you're making an argument. We also discussed some of the areas and ways of knowing which are quintessential to the theory of knowledge. Also, we discussed how groups of knowers function within determining the knowledge of many different people, and 3 of the different truth tests that can be used to determine if something is true, and how individuals can determine that it is true from their own experiences. And lastly, we also discussed the value of justified true beliefs and how they determine what we can accept to be knowledge, which is the very foundation of theory of knowledge. And well, it's past midnight now, so I hope you guys learned a lot, and ToK.